Okay, now that you've seen how the FTC scoring cloud-based system can be used to manage and score a remote event, let's take a look to see how FTC scoring can be used to manage a traditional or in-person event. For the 2020-2021 season, FTC scoring, which is a cloud-based system, will be used by PDPs and the administrators to administer or manage and configure also traditional in-person events. So the workflow for an in-person or traditional event is that the PDP, again, who has the scheduled event, will tell the FTC or first staff member that there will be a traditional in-person event using this spreadsheet. The staff member will enter that information into a system known as TARDIS, and then that information will be synchronized from TARDIS to the FTC scoring cloud system. And as a PDP or an administrator, that person will go into the FTC scoring system, find the event for their region, and then configure it in the cloud, and then transfer that information to a local laptop that's running some software called FTC Live, and then that FTC Live software is used on that laptop to score and manage the actual traditional event in person. And when the event's over, the score can then be pushed from the scorekeeper laptop up to the internet and back onto the FTC scoring system, and then the community will be able to view that event after the event results have been published through that push mechanism. So let's take a look at that process. If you'll notice, a quick note, I'm actually working for this walkthrough video using a development server. However, for the PDPs and their designated administrators, you'll want to use the staging environment that was described in the introductory video of this video series. So I am going to manage Illinois, and I'm going to, as a region administrator, going to let's say I want to configure a traditional event called Test Qualifier 2, and I want to configure it as a traditional event. Well, I'm going to do some of that management on the cloud scoring system and then transfer the data to the FTC laptop or FTC Live Scorekeeper laptop. So on that laptop, one thing I want to do is I want to download that software, and I do have it installed locally on my example desktop here. And again, just to remind you, the FTC Live software is software that's available from a GitHub repository. We've used this in prior seasons to manage and score our traditional events. And for the Ultimate Goal season, you'll want to go to the Releases tab, which is available here. You go to the Releases tab here. And if you go to the Releases tab, you want to download version 2.0 or greater for the Ultimate Goal season. Now, I am doing this video before earlier on, before the 2.0 software has been released to the public repository. But when you do go to Releases tab, you'll want to grab a 2.0 or higher version of that software and then install it. And if you need additional detail on how to install the software, refer to the FTC Scorekeeper's Manual, which has some detailed instructions on how to download and install this FTC Live software. But let me start running that FTC Live software locally. It's going to launch a little local server, Scorekeeper server, that'll be running on my laptop. And then it'll also launch a browser that points to that local server, and I need to log in as the local user. Okay, and that would be the administrative account. Now that I'm logged in, I can go back to the cloud system through my web browser to configure this event. So again, this event, in theory, USIL Test Qualifier 2, would have been scheduled through the TARDIS system and then synchronized to this FTC scoring system. And now that I found that event in my list of regional events, I want to manage that through the event dashboard. I can add users, so if I wanted to, I can add an administrator or a judge for this traditional event in the cloud. I can also configure the event. Now, again, for the staging system, which the PDPs and their volunteers will be using for testing, you have the option on the staging server to toggle between a remote event, which you would do by checking this checkbox, or a traditional event by unchecking this option. But in the production system, whatever you list the event as in TARDIS will be what it's listed here, and you won't have the ability to toggle between remote and traditional. And for a traditional event, you could specify the number of fields. I'm only going to have a single field event. Even though, by the way, some of these steps have been completed, the status for some of these options are not updated in this development version of the software, but will be for the production version. Okay, after I've configured the event and defined the number of fields, I need to specify which teams will be participating in that event. So let's look by region. So in this, my test region here, I'm going to pick 8 teams that are going to be part of this traditional or in-person event. Okay, and once I have those teams, you'll see you can verify them under the Add Individually tab. I have my teams added. I could complete it now and go on to the next step of the process, but in this case I do want to add a sponsor. So I'm going to add a sponsor. I'll pick Maverick Integration, and I will pick Maverick Integration, and this will be their logo file. Let's go to the temp directory. Oops. And I will add this sponsor. And now I have a sponsor for my event. Okay, and you can see what it would look like on the event page. Okay. Now that I have done all the initial configuration of the event, I can go and transfer that from the cloud to my scorekeeper's laptop. And I do that through this step called Play Event Locally. If I click on that Play Event Locally step, I see there's 3 ways that I can transfer the transfer the event data that I configured in the cloud to my local laptop running the FTC Live software. The first way is through an automatic transfer. If the laptop that I'm accessing the FTC scoring system also is the same laptop that is running the local copy of the FTC Live software, as you can see here, I have a local copy of it running in the background on this laptop, then the FTC scoring cloud system will detect that local server. See, it says found FTC scoring system, and it will allow you to import this event. And I could push this button and it would transfer the event automatically from the cloud to my local copy of the FTC Live software. Okay, that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is if your scorekeeper is remote from you, and let's say your scorekeeper, she has access to the internet from her scorekeeper laptop. She can receive a key. Perhaps you email her this key, and then she can go into the FTC Live scorekeeper software on her local laptop, go to the event admin section and set up a new event, and then specify that key, and then her system will, or her software will go through the internet to the FTC scoring server and then pull down the data from the FTC scoring server to her local laptop. So that's the second option. And the third option, which is the one we will do, is you can download the file, and I'm going to do that now. And you download that file to your local hard drive. So I've downloaded it from the cloud or the internet to my local laptop. Then I can transfer that file to a thumb drive and then give that thumb drive to the scorekeeper, and then the scorekeeper can use the FTC Live local software and go to the Manage Servers section and then find that file on their local computer. Let's say it's on a thumb drive. In this case, it happens to be on my Downloads folder, but they might have it on the thumb drive. They double click on that, and then they chosen the file, then they hit Import Event, and now that event appears in their system. And you see here they have now this USILQT, US Illinois Test Qualifier 2, which is the event that we configured in our, see here's the event code, that we configured in our cloud system. And now that that event is stored locally on my scorekeeper laptop, I, as the scorekeeper, can then manage it as a normal traditional event. And the cool thing is that all the teams and in this case, the sponsors were already configured for me in advance. So I can, for instance, go to the event dashboard on the local laptop. I can generate a judging schedule. Let's say the judging starts today, and it starts, I don't know, let's say at 11:40 a.m. Okay, and I can generate the schedule. Okay, and then I can also create a match schedule. Let's say everything starts at noon. Let's say, I don't know if this is military time, maybe that's easier. Okay, and end time, let's say whatever time we pick. And I'm not going to add any breaks. I can generate my match schedule. And then again, after the match schedule is generated, I just manage this event as a local traditional event, as we've done in prior seasons. And for details on how to do that, you can go to the at First Inspire's website and look at the FTC Scorekeeper manual. But I can manage the awards locally like I would at a traditional event. And once I'm done with the event, or once I've done generating the schedules, I can score it like I normally would. I can enter in the scores directly, or I can do real-time scoring. And I'm just going to give myself some points here. And let's say the robot. Okay. And let's say they didn't do as well. They did less of the. Okay. And now I have at least one match here. As the event administrator, once I'm done managing the event and I've entered in all the scores and I've entered in all of the awards, I can go back to my event dashboard, and then I just push this send results button, and I could submit those results. And what happens is if I have an internet connection, this local laptop will reach out to the internet to the FTC scoring system and automatically push that information to that scoring system, and then that scoring system will publish, or that information will be published and available on a web browser or on a website. So once your match has been completed, your traditional match is completed, you can submit those results to the cloud server, and then those results will be available and browsable on a website. And this is showing you last season's game, but for the production system, we'll have a version of this for this season's game, and you can browse by season, and you can look at the past seasons or the current season, and those events that you published or your scorekeeper published or submitted will now be available on the website. Okay, so that in a nutshell is how you would manage a traditional event using the FTC scoring system. You do the initial configuration in the FTC scoring server on the cloud, then you transfer it in one of three ways to your local laptop, and then the event is scored traditionally using the FTC Live software in person on that laptop. After the event is completed, you'd push it up to the internet onto the cloud server, and then it's available for browsing by the first community. If you have questions on how to do this in detail, you can refer to the FTC Scorekeeper manual, which is available on the First Inspire's website under the Volunteer Resources page for the First Tech Challenge.